Good night, good night, good night. Welcome in, guys. I wanted to come on here and just talk to you guys a little bit about some things that you may be doing wrong in your marriage. I know you may be going through some issues, and we're going to discuss those. And we're going to discuss things you may be trying that are not currently working, and why they're not working, and what we can do to change that. What can you actually do instead that will help your marriage to grow and basically, help you to change, help your husband to change, and help you to get that dream marriage that we all want. Okay? So if you're coming in, type in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me. So many times I've come live and 30 minutes in, I hear, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. So let me know if you can hear me loud and clear coming through, okay? So I see I have one person. So just type in the chat, can you hear me or not? All right. So I'm just gonna go right into it. If you can't hear me, I don't know. We're gonna have to redo it another time. But I only have my one phone, so I can't check right now. So I have my notes here because I don't want to go off, on a tangent. I want to keep on track and talk about the specific things that I want to talk about today. All right. So, we want to see a change in our marriage, right? We're Christian wives, and we know that, it's not, it may not even be bad, but it's not the marriage. He's not the husband that we hoped he would be. It's not the marriage that we imagined it would be. Everything that God promised us, we aren't getting it. And so, what are we doing? Right? We're trying to find solutions and we're doing something. So the first thing we're doing that is not, you're trying, you think it's going to solve your problem, but it's not, but it's using worldly advice. So we're Christian women, but we're going with what the world is telling us to do, right? What society wants us to do as women. Society is telling us we need to be strong, we need to be independent, we need to not depend on our man, we need to have our separate things. It's creating that spirit of independence, and we're backing away from unity. And the Bible tells us that when we get married, the two becomes one. So obviously, the independent thing is not the godly thing. It goes against what God desires of us and wants for us. So we're using worldly advice. That's one thing. We're listening to the worldly music. We're watching the movies, the TV shows. These TV shows, Love at First Sight, they're just so they're not aligned with God, but we're feeding these things into our minds, right? And we're creating this narrative, um and we rarely consult with the Bible. We rarely go, and I know I'm speaking for myself. Back before I started on this journey, I it took me years and years to really study the word as it relates to what is required of me as a wife. You hear it, you go to church and you hear they tell you submit, but it's kind of one-sided. It doesn't sound like something you want to do. I know I did not. Submission sounded like a curse word to me. Like, no, I don't want to do it. Don't talk about it. But when I began to really look into the word and study the word, submission is this beautiful thing, and it's this mutual thing. It's not just for wives. It's for if it's for husbands and wives, but it's for believers as well. Together, we submit to each other in different ways. obviously I'm submitting to my husband in a different way than he's submitting to me. I'm submitting to his leadership, and submission just means to make way for, to give way to. Like, think about yielding. You know that yield sign, you allow someone to do something, so you're allowing them to pass you by. That's what submission is. So the man submits because, remember, the man is naturally more powerful than the woman. The husband is more, can be, like, even just physically, the way we're built is just different. They can easily overcome us. And but yeah, but so you submit when you love your wife sacrificially, when you are able to put aside your strength, your natural strength. um you could easily abuse, you could easily take advantage of the woman and in her weakness, right? But you submit to that, you put away, you yield to that by loving her. You put her before yourself. That's how the man submits to his wife. You sacrifice everything, or you're willing to sacrifice everything for her well-being, to make sure that she's good, to make sure that your family is good. You sacrifice so that she can have financial stability, she can have emotional stability, she can have mental stability, you know? So that's how the man submits. And the woman submits, obviously, by just allowing the man to lead, allowing him to feel like he's in control. This is my family. Of course, if you do it right, your man is gonna give it back to you. What I found with my husband when I started allowing him to lead, that was enough for him. He felt so fulfilled in that. He always put it back on me. So I would, for example, I would say, babe, what do you want to eat today? And this is just a really simplified example. Babe, what do you want to eat today? But because I reverence him so much to even ask his opinion and to make the decision be left up to him, now he's like, I don't know, babe, what do you want? And we kind of, think about it and brainstorm together. And it just, there's just something about, and God is so powerful and all knowing and just full of wisdom. Because before, I could not understand, like, in my mind, if you let a man lead you, he's gonna dominate you and he's gonna take advantage of you, right? But something with the human psyche, when they don't have to fight for power, they don't have to fight for their position, it's like you're already giving them that role and they don't have to compete for it. It's like they become, it's more passive, like they're more laid back, like, it's okay, babe, you can have whatever you want. So I get to have my say in the end. He gives me more opportunities to get what I want, to do what I want, to put my feelings before his. So you see how that works? It's like I put him before me, and then he puts me before him. So it's like none of us are getting left behind. And I know that's what a lot of wives are worried about, but don't worry. We serve this mighty and wise and all knowing God. He's so powerful. He's so powerful, and He knows what we need more than we could ever know. When it seems like such a huge problem for us, God already laid out the solution. And that's what I want to show you guys today. So, the second thing we do is, which kind of piggybacks off of that last point, is we leave God out of the mix. We leave God out of the solution. We're trying to find all the solutions. We go to the therapist. We listen to the songs talking about marriage. We listen to all the people on the internet talking about marriage. Not me, though. um, we do all these things, but we never once stop and think, God, what do you want me to do? What do you require of me? And this just it's just simply going into the word, and it's laid out so clearly, so consistently. So many scriptures from the New Testament to the Old Testament, or from the old to the new. We have scriptures just laying out how submission works, how a husband is just supposed to treat his wife, how a wife is supposed to treat her husband and be towards her husband. It's like this nicely laid out blueprint, but we ignore that. All right, but not anymore, not on my watch. God showed me, opened my eyes. I can't even explain to you guys, but I feel like He literally just spoke into my spirit. And when I got so frustrated. I was at the brink of giving up on my marriage, right? And so God was like, have you seen what my word said? Did you check my word? Right? And that's how you become wise, because God is wise. So the wisdom of God is in his word. If you can apply those principles, that's you applying God's wisdom. He's given us access to his wisdom. Can you imagine that? So we just need to utilize it and take advantage of that. All right. So the next thing we are doing, and everybody tells us to do this, right, is to pray. Pray for your husband, pray for your marriage. And yes, we should pray. Don't get me wrong. Definitely. That's a big part of the solution, but it cannot be the only part. A lot of people are just praying and then they're doing nothing else. They're just like waiting, you know they're not changing themselves, they're not looking into themselves. Like, I had to go read the scriptures, right? I prayed to God. He revealed to me that the answer was in the scripture, but I couldn't just read it. I had to literally start applying what I was reading and what I was learning about marriage. So what I'm saying is, faith without works is dead. So we have to put in the work. The good thing is that I have discovered how you can actually improve your marriage by yourself as a wife. You don't need to nag your husband to change or wait for him to change. But let me not get ahead of myself. And that leads me into our final point, what we're trying to do to solve our problem that is not working. We're waiting on hubby to change, or we're nagging him to change. You're in it. Why aren't you doing this? You need to start doing that. Steve down the road is doing this, this, and this for his wife. So and so is doing this and this. And girl, that's the worst thing you could do to that man. He's breaking down, he's tuning you out because they just don't respond. I don't even think women, if my husband was nagging me, I don't think I would respond very well. But us, we'd probably lash out. They shut down. The men, when you start nagging them and just na 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 saying the same thing over and over, they tune you out. Okay, we don't want that. All right. So, um, so why aren't those things working? They sound good, right? A lot of the advice I see on social media sounds so good, but when I really think about them, they're not biblical. They don't line up with the word. So that's the thing we have to make sure. And so why aren't these things that we're doing working? Um, and I just talked about this, but one reason is that you cannot change another person, and you especially can't change them by nagging them. Okay? Um, Secondly, you cannot have a godly marriage without God in the midst. Remember, I said one thing we're doing is we're leaving God out of the midst. So you can't do that. If we're trying to have a godly marriage, if we're trying to have a holy marriage, be a holy wife, God needs to be at the forefront. And then the worldly approach does not work, which is why divorce is rampant in the world and even in the church, because A lot of the churches, um, not just church as in the building, but just people, Christian people, are applying worldly principles to their marriages. And it's not working. It's not working for the world, and it's surely not going to work for us. The devil, the enemy, Satan, he hates marriage because when marriages are good, marriages are the foundation of this society. Okay? When marriages are good, society flourishes, the family flourishes, the children are flourishing, crime is down. Satan can only have his foothold if there's chaos, if there's sin running rampant, if there's evil, all over. So he needs that instability, and marriage is the opposite. Marriage is going to create stability. So he's under the attack. So we can't apply the principles of the world. We need the power of God behind us, especially in our marriage. All right. So what should you be doing instead? We now know that these things that you're doing, they're not going to get you where you want to be. What should you be doing instead? um Obviously the opposite of what you're doing now. Not necessarily the opposite, but we need to, one, rely solely on God and biblical principles. But how are we going to rely on him? We're not going to just pray and stop there. We're not going to just read the word and stop there. You have to put these things into action. You have to figure out, and I'm here to help you. That's what I'm doing. If you could check out my videos, and I do have a free webinar coming up, but we're going to talk about that. But anyways, you have to figure out how to put them into action. All right. You have to follow the instructions of the Bible word for word. Okay. And we're gonna go through that. We'll figure that out. Maybe not in this video, but at some point. All right. And then you have to start becoming the wife your husband dreamed of. So you know how you want him to be your dream husband. You have like these things, this list, these things that you want to check off, and a lot of them are unchecked. I don't know how you got married with them unchecked, but we did it, girl. So you have a lot of things unchecked, right? Um, but don't you think he has a list too of what his dream wife was going to be? He had some expectations that maybe you're not living up to either. Because we, as wives, as women, we love to talk about the men, and we love to talk about what they're not doing and how, they're failing us and they're not submitting to God. All the things wives say, we say. Um, but are you, sis? Are you living up to his expectations? Are you being the dream wife? Are you being the holy wife? Are you being the biblical wife, the Proverb 31 woman? Are you allowing him to lead? Are you allowing him to fulfill his true potential? And his only true potential is to be the man. He has a responsibility. His role is to lead the home, and he gets to decide how he wants to lead the home. He can decide that, hey, my wife is the best at finances. So if she wants to, she can take care of the finances. Him leading doesn't mean he's going to be making every single decision or in control of every single thing. He can delegate certain things to you if you feel more comfortable doing them, or if he doesn't feel comfortable, so he may ask you to do them. So don't think that him being the leader means that he's gonna take care of the kids, he's gonna cook, he's gonna do this, he's gonna No. You're gonna delegate, you're gonna share the responsibilities based on your strengths. The main thing with him leading is just he's gonna have the last say. He's like a tiebreaker. Because remember, you guys are a team. And the more you allow him to lead, is the more he's going to love you sacrificially. And what do you think that means? That means he's going to want to love you and take care of you. And he's going to want to work hard so that you can have this dream life, whatever it is. Because your dream life may not be what I dream, my dream life, right? But whatever it is that you desire, he's going to want to, if he needs to get 2 3 jobs so that you can be comfortable, he's going to do that. So, but you guys have to come to this agreement, become this team, right? And how are you going to know? How do you know that what you're doing, um, or you're not doing things the right way? Everything that you've tried, how are you going to confirm that, you know what, this isn't working? You're going to go talk to your husband. I want you to talk to him, and I want you to discuss with him, like, what does your dream wife look like? Um, what are some things that she does? How does she talk to you? Right? And I don't want you to get offended either. Okay? Do not just make it up in your mind that whatever this man says, it's not going to hurt my feelings. It's going to help me to improve and to grow. You don't even have to tell him what you're doing, because remember, he doesn't need to be a part of the process. When you begin to change, he's going to start to change. All right. So, ooh, I've been on here for 22 minutes. I mean, I guess that's not that bad. But I do want to talk to y'all. I don't know if you have any questions, but before you go, I just want to make sure that you sign up for the wait list for my upcoming webinar. It's titled How to Improve Your Marriage Without Waiting for Your Husband to Change. It's free, completely free. And we're going to be on this webinar just talking about getting deeper. I'm going to tell a lot about my own story, how I got over it, some examples for you. What can you do in your marriage? And I know I give y'all a lot of thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. Sometimes I feel like I'm rambling and I'm going too long. So thanks for that. Um, but so my webinar, it's gonna be in 2 weeks, I want to say, not next week, but the week after that. So if y'all want to sign up, please go ahead, sign up. The wait list, the link is in my bio. And the best thing about this is that I want to create a community for my wives. I want to be able to talk to you guys. I want to be able to get on Zoom or whatever so that we can talk to each other. So that's the biggest thing, because this ministry, it means nothing unless I can reach wives. I can change marriages. We can get closer to God. We can have that dream man and that dream marriage that we always wanted, but also do it in a godly way, right? So that we never have to worry about our salvation. We're going to heaven together, me and hubby. But the best part is you can do all the work yourself. That is a thing that I think is missing when I figured out how to change my marriage. Because when I tell you my man began to change, let me give y'all some context. I don't want to talk bad about my husband, but his grandma, which he loves, she raised him and everything, literally told me not to marry that man. She's like, he's the worst. Do not. But he's not easy, but I think he's just the perfect man for me. I just needed to figure out how to go about doing it, because let me tell you now, this man loves me down to the, it started out rough, but if you figure out, if, and I want to give y'all the blueprint, if I can get my husband to change without the nagging, without the, he just now, he's like excited. He's like, I wish we were like this before. He just keeps talking. He's so excited about our marriage and our love. Um, Yes, I want to teach you guys. I when God told me, when he basically showed me what to do, and I started to do it, and I was like, the first conversation, you know how I'm telling y'all to go talk to your husband? The first time I spoke to my husband, that first conversation, I saw immediate change with him. My husband used to be the husband that said, we have to be 50-50. Like, I had to contribute financially. I didn't have a choice. That was his stance. If we were going to be together, I had to work and he's going to work. He's very financially responsible and I did not need to work. But for some reason, but, anyways, so when I had that first conversation with this man, and I was like, babe, I didn't really tell him the full journey. I was just like, babe, I want to be more feminine. I want to be more loving towards you. My dream is to become, your dream wife and to just love you more and to give you the best sex. Because you have to put that in there. They get excited about when they hear about, because you want them to think like, because we're selfish. It doesn't sound good, but he's going to think, what's in it for me? And this is the initial stages. As you grow closer to God and he begins to see God in you, he begins to grow in his own relationship. And my husband just gives me all the praises. He's like, I'm so glad, you allowed me to just grow in God on my own. You didn't push me, you didn't force me. And but it just happens. I don't know how to explain how the word of God works when you follow it to the T, but there's so many misconceptions. And that's why I need to help y'all to get over those humps, to get hope, to get over those, myths that the world taught us, the feminist movement, everything they told us goes against what God has in store for us. It's like we're blocking our own blessings, because now that I'm not this hyper independent person, I'm an attorney, right? And I still work because I feel like the job I have right now, I can work from home, I can watch the kids. So I'm like, why would I quit just because? So I feel like we make a better team. We can pool all the finances together. But anyway, I digress. Before I started this journey, I was like, I need to get rich because I don't want to ever have to ask my husband for money. I never want to have to, like, I just wanted to be so independent. And it sounds so bad now, but I felt like it was the best thing. I was doing real estate. And I wasn't consulting him. I was just doing my own thing. So nothing is wrong with working or trying to do your businesses or do your hustle, but make sure he's a part of it. That's the biggest thing. You can't be independent in marriage. But anyway, that's what I want to, my community to be. I want to teach you guys what to do, how to regain your femininity, how to love on you, because when you love on you, you have boundaries. We don't want, submission does not mean he's going to say whatever he wants to you. It's the opposite. You're going to be so respectful and kind that you're going to be able to tell him whatever it is that's on your mind. You're not going to be silent. You're going to be respectful, but you're going to let your boundaries be known. He cannot disrespect you in public. He cannot put his hands on you and you make it clear, babe, I promise I'm going to love you to the best of my ability. I'm going to follow you. I'm willing to submit to you. But make sure, and you tell him your rules, if you ever hit me, I'm gone. Because at the end of the day, guys, God hates divorce, but he loves you more. Your life, if it gets to the point where your life is in danger, this man wants to hit on you, is it worth it? No. God told him specifically, he's gonna have to bring you back without blemish, without scar, perfect, just like Jesus did with the church. How does that equate to you getting abused and used? No. We submit, which means we respect him, and we speak, but we do it respectfully. We're not going to be doormats. We're not going to be voiceless. We're not going to be slaves. Okay? So I just want you guys to remember that. And that's the aim of my whole community that I want to build. So that's the first step is my free webinar, just so I can give you some, like, I don't have the restrictions of the content and all that, like YouTube or wherever. I can just speak to y'all. I can say the sex without being censored. So I hope you guys got a lot from this live. It's kind of late. I think it's maybe after 10 o'clock here. But I think I'm going to come back on live on Thursday. So if you guys want to talk, I'm going to go into a different topic, but still, give you some more tips and talk about some mistakes that we're making and go a little deeper. All right. So I love you guys. Be sure to check out the link in my bio. I'm going to try to link it in the description here. And I can't wait to talk to you guys. I can't wait to see you in my Facebook community and on my Zooms and all that. I'm so excited. All right. So talk to you later. Share this live with a wifey that you think needs to hear it. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.